Hello, everyone. This is Rob Golfi with Remax, the Golfi team. Welcome to the Golfi Real Estate Show with host Stephanie Vivier.
Well, hello there, Rob. So great to have you back on the show. How you doing today?
Good, thanks. It's getting a little chilly out there. It's something I'm not liking as much. I guess people love the cold weather. They like to ski and stuff like that, but that's not me. And but anyway, we just got to live through it. My parents immigrated to Ontario, and I have no choice. I guess I do have a choice. I can go anywhere else, but I happen to stay here anyway. So we all want sunny weather, but none of us do anything about it. Well, actually, there are people doing stuff about it right now. A lot of people are moving away from Ontario or even Canada. And we're losing a lot of really good Canadian citizens, and that's not a good thing for this country. So, but we'll find out where we land in a couple of years with all this immigration coming in and immigration going out, and so we'll see what the outcome will be in years to come.
All right. Well, yeah, it has been very chilly. We've gotten a little bit of sunshine, though. That's what I'm really holding on to, right? And I get a lot of sunshine. We have a lot of laughs and a lot of fun on this show from you, Rob, so I appreciate that. And you brought along with you today another sales representative from the Golfi team, Justin Potomaroff. Hey, Justin.
Hello.
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you very much.
So Justin is a sales representative with us on the Golfi team. He's also a lead role on our leasing team with the Golfi team. So we do a fair amount of leases with the Golfi team, and Justin heads that up with us here. So he knows a lot about landlord-tenant issues. So. There's always something going on there, so he knows all about it. So we deal with that on a daily basis here.
Okay, so you at the Golfi team, Justin, do you help people get into leases? You help people who are leasing out? How does that all work?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I'm the leasing specialist on the Golfi team. We have a department of about 5 agents, 3 in Hamilton and 2 in the Niagara area. So what we do is we help landlords find tenants for their rental properties, and then we also help tenants find a place to call home. So the great thing is that we specialize in it, so we know it really well. Your typical average realtor out there, they just do a couple of leases every year, and they don't really know it that well, because leasing is completely different than buying and selling. You really got to know what you're doing. So we do hundreds and hundreds of them, so we know it inside and out.
Okay, great stuff. Well, more and more people have to lease. Not everybody can get into the housing market,
Yep.
so it's great to know that we have an expert on our side when we need to do that, or people leasing things out. What are some of the mistakes, Justin? What do people do wrong when it comes to finding a place to lease?
Are you meaning like on the landlord side?
No, on the tenant side. If I'm looking for some place, what's some of the things we do wrong?
Well, you know what? The great thing with working with a realtor on the tenant side is that we have all the proper paperwork to help protect you. When you're doing something, say if you go on Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji or something like that, you're kind of doing a private under-the-table deal. So you got to be really cautious and careful, whereas when you're being represented by a realtor, we have all the proper paperwork, all the proper clauses and everything like that helps protect you to ensure you're everything's safe and stuff.
Okay, that's great to know. Mm-hmm. Hey, Rob, let's get into, we talked about how the weather is cold. What about real estate? What's the temperature?
Well, the real estate market is starting to pick up a little bit of steam. Everybody's just kind of dabbling and dibbling around and questioning. Open houses are starting to be a little bit busier. People are starting to look, and the market is moving, but not aggressively yet. It will start probably in a couple weeks. You're going to start seeing more houses going on the market and more buyers coming into the market. I'm not going to say that the housing prices are going to go up dramatically, but I do see that houses are going to sell. There was a report that because of they put out a thing in the paper I just read here that the Canadian Real Estate Association expects higher demand for homes in 2025, but not for condos. And the cost of a new mortgage is cheaper than it was a year ago and may soon bottom out. That's what the bank. That's what this article is saying, that it may bottom out if the Bank of Canada stops cutting interest rates. Now, at a news conference to discuss the forecast, Mr. Cathcart pointed out that waves of millennials are eager to buy their first home. In addition, there were record levels of immigration in recent years, and some of those new permanent residents have now increasing pressure on the housing market. So the demand is starting to there. So the people that immigrated 2, 3, 4 years ago, now they've got money in the bank. They're savers, and they're good savers. They're better than the Canadians that were born here, and they've got money to buy, and they're going to be starting to look. So the market is going to, we're going to see more sales happening. There was one indication that they figured that Korea predicts that the national average home price to rise 4.7%. On an annual basis. So this is based all of Canada. The average price will be $722,221. Now, it will go up for 4.7%, but it may drop again. So it's hard to gauge what it's going to happen. Builders are still not out there building. They're just sitting and waiting. It's costing them a lot of money, the builders. They own a lot of land. They don't want to do anything because it could be more costly, but they are paying a lot of money on interest on the properties that they've purchased, and they're just sitting and not developing. So, and with builders not building, they got no money coming in to pay for the land that they're going to build in the future, and so they're digging in their deep pockets to pay for that, and that's why there's been a lot of bankruptcies in large developers, because whatever they have now, that's it. They don't have anything. They don't have money coming in to pay for anything that they have in the future that's supposed to happen. And but I do feel things are going to be busier this year. We did go through a tough 2.5 years in the market, and things are starting to change. And so timing right now, still good to buy. I do think that we're going to see the market in 2026 and 27 have rapid growth, more sales, and also the average price is going to increase a lot better than the 4.7 or 5%. I think you're going to see a lot of houses go up for a lot more money in about a year and a half from now.
Okay, so that means the time is really now, right? Because if those houses are going to be increasing in a year and a half from now, we want to get in, we want to do it now.
Absolutely. I would suggest that. Now, I remember I was looking, like the higher end markets are the craziest markets to look at. And this is one market like in Burlington. Maybe Fawn Hill could be one that you can look at too. But Burlington, I'll tell you, like the market just drops like crazy in December and January. And then it just goes up like crazy. So like people in Burlington aren't buying, and people that need to sell, they're selling at a lower price. So if you're selling a house and you're selling in December, January, you are going to lose big time. Now, as the market starts picking up February, March, and April, there's a significant difference in price. Like it could be almost close to 7 to 10% in price difference. And it's just the way Burlington operates. It's just the higher end homes there just seem to have like there's deals to be made there in December and January, but then it levels out back to normal, and then it starts climbing again. But Fawn Hill, like the high end markets, the higher end areas, they seem to take a little bit of a beating when the market's slow, just because there's not the high end buyers don't need to buy. They just want to buy. So, and that's the wants. So if you don't need to buy, they're going to sit on it and wait. Everybody wants a luxury home, but like, do we really need it? And, a lot of people end up buying a luxury home, and they live there for a while, and they say, well, I satisfied my goal of buying a luxury home, but I couldn't care less about it because I only use 2 rooms mostly. Well, actually 3 rooms. They use the kitchen, family room, and the bedroom. All the other 5,000 square foot space that's extra in that house, they're not even using. And then they realize that, and they end up going back to a normal size, 2,400 square foot house or whatever, or 3,000 square foot house, which is more manageable. But when you have a large home, a lot of people end up move in, and then they end up leaving, or they want to leave, and a lot of them end up regretting buying these large homes unless you're into entertaining and you have a company and you do a lot of entertaining. Yes, you know, that makes sense. You know, have a lot of parties and you need space for people to go. Like if you're having 50 people all the time at your house, you know, maybe 3-4 times a year, it does make sense, you know, but yeah.
Or if you got a whole bunch of kids, enough kids to, you know, have a whole soccer team play against one another, you know, maybe you want to have that much space.
Exactly. But most cases, people have money when they're older in life, not when they're younger. So you need those houses when you're a young person, not as an older person, because now you know, if the kids are in high school, they're going to be leaving the nest probably within few years, and now you're stuck in this big house with nobody running around. But it's nice to have a big house. Too bad it wasn't reversed. You have lots of money at the beginning of starting a family, and then you can have the big house and they all can run around. They have the pool, they have lots of square footage, but it doesn't seem to work that way anyway. But yeah, it's the market is moving along, and we're definitely anticipating a better year than last year and the year prior to that.
Okay, well, that's some exciting news right there. And CREA, Canadian Real Estate Association, agrees with you. There's going to be a higher demand with homes, but not for condos. I think, and this is something that you've spoke about in the past, Rob, that really condos are not on trend when it comes to housing.
Condos are not on trend. I know, like, I don't know if they overbuilt or they're like what's going on there, but condos are a tough. For me, it's not my best investment. I'm not a big condo investor. And there are a lot of guys that are, but you can't, as an investor, you cannot make money renting it out right now. It's just the cost to run that condo with putting 20% down as a down payment and having the amount of rent coming in, it just doesn't cover. And so the condos are taking a beating because mostly they're, to build a condominium building, it's mostly investors. And if investors aren't buying them, they're not, the developers aren't selling them. We need those investors to buy them. And they buy 5 at a time, 10 at a time. It just depends. And sometimes they try to flip them before they take possession, before they're finished. And that happened a lot for like a good 20 years in the GTA. But in the Hamilton, Niagara region, it's a little tougher. I mean, people started doing it, but then some people got caught. And you don't want to be the last guy there. And then all of a sudden, you're buying a condo and it's worth less than what you paid what you paid for, what you initially signed the contract for. I mean, there's people out there that I was at a house and these people signed a contract in 2019 and they just took possession last year. So they made made out like bandits when it was finished because
5 years.
Exactly, 5 years, yeah. And the condo developer definitely lost. I don't know if he lost money, but he didn't make as much money because the cost of building went up significant since the time through COVID. And the people that bought, I mean, they made money immediately as soon as they moved in. So it was a win-win for the buyer. The developer, I'm sure he made money, but probably not as much. He had probably a lot of headaches, and for the amount of money that he made, it wasn't worth it. So the condos, to me, they are taking a beating. You're not going to see new high-rise condos going up for a while. Right now, whatever you see out there is from stuff that was purchased 3 to 5 years ago. So these are condos that are being built because they were sold 3 to 5 years ago when the market was good.
We'll bring Justin in on this for a minute here, Rob, because I imagine, Justin, you work with a lot of those investors Rob was just talking about. So even though people maybe don't want to buy the condos, I imagine those are still pretty hot for leasing.
You know what? The condos are hit and miss. The 1 bedrooms are really popular because they're more affordable for people. So usually those go pretty quickly, but I find that the 2 bedroom condos, those are tough to rent out. They have a higher days on average market, but at the end of the day, they do get rented out. It's just the investors have to have a little bit more time and patience with those ones.
All right. Some great inside information there. You're listening to the Golfi Real Estate Show here on CKTB. You can give the Golfi team a call at 905-641-0308. Online, robgolfi.com. Our guest today, Rob Golfi himself, and he's brought along with him Representative Justin Podmoroff. He's a leasing specialist with the Golfi team, and they're going to stick around. We've got more great information on the other side here on News Talk 610 CKTB. Welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivier. GTAA with us today, Rob Golfi. He's also brought along with him sales representative with the Golfi team, Justin Podmoroff, and we're talking all things real estate, everything you need to know. Rob, we're going to head off to Hamilton now. And for anyone who has a home there, thinking of investing there, they really need to know what's going on. Apparently, there's some kind of double tax happening. Explain to me what's the deal here.
Oh, so Hamilton brought to council that they want to double the land transfer tax. Now, in Toronto, land transfer tax was doubled, and I think it was done between 15, 20 years ago. And it was like, it's expensive. Like, you can't finance it. You can't add it to the mortgage. And that's the hard part. So think about this. So this is what Hamilton wanted. They wanted to double the land transfer tax. So let's just look at a house that's $750,000, right? The land. So on completion date, closing date, when you take possession of this house, you have to pay a tax to the government, the provincial government, and it's called the land transfer tax. And for a $750,000 house, it's $11,475. So what Hamilton wanted to do was double it. So now, think about this. A home buyer wants to buy a house. They wanted to double the land transfer tax. The land transfer tax would have been close to $23,000 just before you even put your down payment down. So the real estate board actually wanted wanted realtors, everybody to go to council chambers and be on this meeting that was happening on Wednesday on January 15th. And to oppose this thing, because this thing is going to kill the market. It's going to kill potential first-time home buyers to get into the market. But think about it. You want to buy a $750,000 house. You're a first-time buyer, and you got to save $23,000 first, just to pay the taxes. So now you're still at zero. Now you got to save for the down payment. It's crazy what these. I can't believe. I don't know what's going on in this world. I don't know what everybody's doing. Like City Hall and council, they're coming up with these ideas. Don't they have kids? Don't they have friends, family that are needing to buy houses that they may look at this as one of the worst things to go through? It is not good. And you know what? And this all stems from bad management of the city. They are looking for more money because they don't know how to manage money. And we got people that are managing this. And I get it. Like, you know what? They brought this up, but first of all, they're trying to come up with money and places for low income housing. And now they want to put this in place. And so anyway, they did have council, and I guess it was voted down. It was a no. But this is the second time they tried to bring this in. Now, you know what would happen to Niagara? Niagara will have a boom because it already has a boom now, just because the GTA buyers are actually coming to the Hamilton-Niagara region, and more so Niagara than Hamilton now, just because Niagara is more affordable still. And the land transfer taxes, whatever. Like on a $750,000 house, it's $11,475. Now, they would, so if they brought it up in Hamilton, we would see Hamiltonians driving and going looking for houses in the Niagara region, and that would boost that up. And hopefully, let's hope that, all the major cities in Niagara, they're managing and the books really well. Otherwise, if they see Hamilton doing it, and then Hamilton seems it didn't affect that much, even though it makes it harder for people to save. They're gonna implement it. Toronto, they did this because they were deep in debt. They had no other way to do it. People were kicking and screaming because of it, and they didn't care. They did it, and now because they needed to pay some debts off, because obviously Toronto is one of the worst cities for debt. And they keep looking for ways to take money from the consumer. But the one thing is, they figured, hey, if Toronto did it and it's been going on this long, we can do it in Hamilton. But we'll fight them every which way. Now, what impact affordability? Well, again, first-time buyers, they wouldn't be eligible to buy a house because they need to have the land transfer tax. Impact on property values, they go down probably a little bit. Indirect effects on rental affordability. There's going to be less rentals out there. Yeah. It's just too expensive. You know what? When people buy a rental property, investors buy it. They're looking. It's an investment. and adding expenses to the investment, they're not going to go that way. They don't need that. Economic impact. A second land transfer tax will hurt the economy negatively, impact real estate market. So I'm glad it got turned down, but I'm going to tell you something. They will bring it back down the road because Hamilton is deep in debt. And I know the mayor inherited that when she took over, and she's trying to find ways of, trying to cut back and try to, have money to pay bills and stuff like that. I don't know, I know it's a tough job and they're trying to come up with things, but I don't think this is one way to do it. There's way more other ways that we can get money that can pay down the debt and deal with that. And look at it. Toronto, they increased their tax. Is it Toronto or Hamilton? Toronto, I think, is 6.7 or no. I'm not sure.
Property tax?
Property tax.
Toronto, yeah.
At 6.7. So they increased it because they need to. Because they're so in debt. And they're going to keep doing it, and they're going to keep doing it, and they're going to keep doing it to a point where there's going to be a limit. There's going to be a ceiling where people can't do it anymore, and there's going to be a lot of people walking away from properties, and it might be even cheaper to rent a house than actually own a house in the future. And in Europe, that's what a lot of people do. They end up they rent more renters than homeowners just because it is cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Sometimes depending on how you run the numbers and everything like that, it certainly can be cheaper to rent.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do, right? And that's where the Golfi team comes in, because you all have the expertise to be able to navigate situations. So people can come and, explain their situations. Everyone has such an individual, whether they're self-employed or two people working, one person working, and you can really lay out all the options for them. Okay, let's head off to Edmonton now. Now, they apparently are doing really well when it comes to building new homes. And Rob, in our first segment, you were talking a little bit about how that hasn't really gone as well here in Ontario. So how come Edmonton's able to do what the rest of Canada needs to do right now?
Edmonton is booming, and what they were saying is that Edmonton's recorded 9,441 ownership starts by October to the 8,730 posted by Toronto. So they're outpacing Toronto and a smaller city. A city 4 times larger than Alberta's cousin. Now, Edmonton recorded, it says, and the purpose-built rentals and crucial element in the housing shortage, the gap is also wide. Edmonton recorded 7,190 rental starts in the 12 months in the last fall, compared with just 6,301 in Toronto. Now, people the one thing is, I was reading about this, is the reason why Edmonton is booming, you can get almost a permit in the same day. Edmonton was early in permitting multi-unit housing in districts previously zoned exclusively for single-unit homes. Now, so they are rapid in changing. They know how to pivot fast, and that's why it's a booming city. The city has opened inner-city Main Street corridors and suburbs alike new housing development. Edmonton's streamlined zoning regimen is geared to increasing supply of market affordable and nonprofit housing. It encourages the full mix of housing types, including apartments, row houses, mixed-use houses, secondary suites, and backyard houses. Edmonton has eliminated the requirement of minimum parking spaces for new developments. So basically, they're saying, hey, if you want to develop, if there's no parking, if you can sell it, hey, go ahead. All the power to you. So people that are buying it know that there may be minimal parking. Overriding the usual NIMBY, as they call it, protests about traffic congestions that research shows how to be exaggerated concern. The City Infill Infrastructure Fund promotes decentralizations. Did I say that right? That puts new housing close to a public transit and reduces the city long-term capita servicing costs. Edmonton makes surplus city-owned land available to builders of nonprofit housing. So, I mean, they're doing the right thing. And over here they were saying, and Edmonton's prioritizing building permit applications for affordable or non-market housing developments. The sums with which the city assists developers financially are largely drawn from the $175 million in federal funding. Now, Edmonton, over here it says, along most impressive, it is the same day permitting a first in Canada. So basically, you can go there as long as everything's right. They'll review it and look at it, and you'll get your permit the same day. So there's not a heavy cost on the builder waiting and carrying costs and all that kind of stuff. So they're very proactive, and guess what? It's paying off, and that's why that city is booming and things are going well. They know the hard work that people put in, and we need to implement that in our cities. I'll tell you, I have offices in all the cities: Niagara Falls, St. Catharines, Grimsby, Hamilton, Burlington. And I'm going to tell you, Grimsby was pretty good in dealing with permits, and same thing with St. Catharines. But they do take a little bit of time. But I'll tell you, Burlington, forget it. There was a property there next door to the one I owned, and I was looking at buying it, but I said, no way. I don't want to deal with the city of Burlington. They take forever. So, and I'll tell you how difficult things are in some of these municipalities. I have a parking lot in my Burlington office. Now, it's an existing parking lot. It's been there for, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 years, right? I just want to do the same footprint of a parking lot. They made me go to site plan to get a site plan. You know what that cost? $5,000-$6,000. Oh, wow. Yeah, just so that I could have the same parking lot. Now, I went to them. I could have paved over it, but then if they came and saw that I was paving without a permit, all that, they would shut me down and it would cost me more money. But I applied for this parking lot permit. I can't even remember, 6 months ago. I haven't heard anything yet. I'm telling you, I do not know why it takes forever to get anything done in Burlington.
And this is to turn a parking lot into a parking lot.
This is turning an existing parking lot to the same parking lot. I just want a newer parking lot. That's it. I just want the same footprint. I'm not telling you, I'm not changing it. And this is what's ridiculous about it. I hope they're listening to this and say, hey, this, and actually the chamber and the BIA went to council, and they had, because a lot of business people had concerns about what's going on, and they were telling us my story. They were saying, hey, Rob Golfi's trying to get a permit. He can't open up this. He can't do this. And you guys are taking forever to get anything done. You guys are open for business or not? And it's you could tell from my frustration that I went through this, and it's a terrible thing that they put people through when you purchase a property and you want to do renovations or anything like that. It is brutal. And so if you're going to Burlington, think twice, because you will be put through the ringer. It took me 2 years to get my my approval for the Burlington office. 2 years. Can you believe that? And you know what? Luckily, I was able to afford to carry that property for 2 years.
Right.
Because some people can't. And if they can't, I mean, no wonder we have crime in this country. It's because of the municipalities. They're holding everybody off, and they're making everybody go broke or go bankrupt. And that's why you get people, they get upset and they're hitting on people. I don't know. But anyway, I'll tell you, it was a 2-year ordeal that I almost forgot about it. I couldn't believe when I got the permit. Say, what? Oh my God. Are you kidding? What happened? What happened here? But the city of Burlington, my experiences have to do something. Hamilton's a little more difficult, but Niagara seems to be a little easier. They're a little bit more, want to work with you. And they're not out to grind and kill you in Niagara.
It'd be nice here, though, Niagara, if we had maybe for the entire region had some rules, right? Instead of it being municipality to because you have so many different towns here that you can have different rules. And if you have a builder who's in Niagara, it would make sense that they would probably be building all around, right? So I don't know. Some uniformity, I think, would be nice.
It would be. But I'll tell you, dealing in Niagara versus Hamilton, Niagara's way better. Dealing in Hamilton is way better than dealing in Burlington. And Burlington is known one of the worst municipalities to deal with around. I've talked to people in Oakville. I talked to other, they just say it's brutal. I talked to landscape contractors. I talked to other contractors. They just literally, I hired my landscape guy, contractor, to do the work, and we're doing it in bits and pieces. He says Burlington is one of the worst. And this landscape contractor, they're a well-known, they do a lot of high-end stuff, but they say they cause so many problems for so many people.
All right. Well, you're listening to the Golfi Real Estate Show here on CKTV. Rob Golfi is here along with sales representative Justin Podmoroff. And you can get a hold of the Golfi team at 905-641-0308 or just stick around. More with Rob after this here on News Talk 610 CKTV. Welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivier. We've got Rob Golfi with us today, sales representative Justin Podmoroff with the Golfi team. We've been getting into all things real estate today. And just before the break, we went off to Hamilton, where they're doing really well when it comes to home building. And Rob, one of the areas that you identified that they've done well with is getting away with minimum parking rules for housing projects. And I know that's something here in St. Catharines at their city council on Monday night. There was one particular development that they went ahead and waived those minimum parking rules so that they could get that done. Certainly not something that they're doing for all projects, but for that particular project. And calls are growing really to get rid of these minimum parking rules.
Well, the minimum parking rules, like they say you need 1.2 parking spots for every residential unit, which developers hate. But I'll tell you, I think like in Niagara, in Hamilton, you still need a car. And so think about this. Even if you have a one bedroom condo, I'd say maybe, let's say there's 100 one-bedroom condos. I'd say 50% of those have a couple in there. And usually every person has a car. Yeah. So you need 2 cars in that for each residential unit. They don't even give you enough visitor parking like to even, and you can't even park in the visitor parking. Like you got to go park around the corner, down the street, and this and that. So, but developers want to get away from that because what happens is they build these big 600 units if the units, and especially there's one in Hamilton, there's 600 units. If it's under 600,000, there is no parking for it. Mm-hmm. So I went in and they invited me to take a look at it and everything. I says, well, these units, they don't have parking. I says, well, where would they park? Well, they would take the bus. Well, what if they have a car? I go, do they take a bus to go to their car? What do you like? Where do they have the park? But literally, I wouldn't buy a unit unless it had a parking spot. I don't care. Like in Niagara, you need it. Like everybody drives. And unless you're downtown, like, I don't know, like downtown and you don't have a car and you never had a car and you're you walk to everywhere, but that's very far and few between. But the thing is, the developers, the cost to build a parking spot, an underground parking spot, it's like $100,000 per parking spot. Yeah. So they're looking at minimizing that. But the one thing is I want to talk about is that even a townhouse complex, never enough visitor parking. No. And a townhouse complex, now you got a 1,500 or 1,200 square foot townhouse. Now you're going to have 2 people living in there. You're going to have 2 cars, and you only can fit 1 car in the driveway. Yeah. What does the other cars go to? So I was in this one complex, and we're ready to put it up for sale. And I said to them, I go, where does everybody park their cars? They said there is an arena up the street, and everybody parks there. Their second car there, and they walk to their home. Oh, wow. So, why are they allowing this? Yeah. Why? I know it's space. But I'm telling you, if you are looking at buying a townhouse or a condo, you better know your parking situation because it could be brutal.
I agree. I have a listing downtown Hamilton on King Street East right now, and beautiful 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, priced phenomenally, and it has no parking. So we can't rent it out, and it's been on the market for a couple of months now. Yeah. But if it had a parking spot, that would have been gone months ago.
So you know what they got to do, and so I was looking at this. This is nowhere to lie. This was just happening this past 2 weeks. I said we have to have a parking share. So there's got to be people that have a parking spot in their condo. And maybe they're not there all the time, right? Yeah. So maybe there could be like an app where they say, hey, I'm not going to be here. You can use my parking spot these days. Or if you need like a visitor coming, you can use their parking spot for a few days. It's like a parking share. So I'm thinking I have this great idea and everything. And then I'm looking online. I go, oh, somebody already tried to do this. But it is happening in Toronto. There is a parking share in Toronto.
It's a great idea. Yeah, no,
it is.
My wife used to own a condo actually in Mississauga, and the person to the right, there was never anybody parking there for, I think she owned the unit for almost 2 years. There was never a car there. It was a waste of space.
Right.
Someone could have been parking there.
Yeah. So I think what you do is if you live in a condo building, and I would put a flyer under everybody's door, say, listen, I have a parking spot. I'm not there all the time. We can create an app for everybody to look at to see what's open. So mine's open. Anybody can use it. I'll be back by this time on whatever, and then vice versa. So that if you have company, you can invite them and say, hey, park here. Like, depends how long they're staying or whatever, so that you don't have this thing. So maybe I shouldn't tell this secret to everybody too much. And I'm gonna invent this thing, invent this little app, and do it myself. Yeah. But there is issues with parking in condo buildings and townhouses. I'm sorry, but I always tell my clients, listen, try to find a parking spot. Like if you're going to buy a townhouse, make sure there's visitor parking close by. Sometimes the visitor parking, that's way on the other end. I hate that. Some townhouse complexes have done a really nice job with the visitor parking. But what the problem is they won't allow you to park overnight in the visitor parking. I get it because it's for visitor parking. But they need to, like, I think a townhouse needs at least 2 parking spots in the driveway. They need 2 parking spots. And none of this one car that barely fits in there. You can't even get a truck in there.
The townhouses now you have to have one of those compact cars.
Like you need one of those Japanese cars to get in there. But it's not good. So, but when you're looking at buying a townhouse or a condo, you better know the parking situation. And you almost have to predict your future. Like, hey, I may be by myself now, but listen, if I have a partner coming up, where are they going to park? You know what I mean? Like, they have to park down the street, and we have to drive them back and forth.
That's very true.
It's the same thing, townhouses. So when you're buying brand new, I'm going to tell you, if you're buying brand new, a condo unit, or you're buying a townhouse, really think twice about the parking situation. Find out, like, everybody thinks, oh, there's a garage with it. Nobody parks in the garage. Very few people do.
That's where all your stuff goes, Rob. Where am I going to put all my stuff? Where am I going to put all the clothes that I really should be donating because I put them in the bags and I'm going to take them to the donation place, but I haven't done it yet. Where's that all going to go?
Exactly. That stays there for a year before you send it out.
Minimum. Then I look through and go, oh, this is where those pants went.
Yeah. Hey, maybe. Why did I think about throwing these away? They actually fit me pretty good now. But yeah, no, it's just, you're right. The garages are for, like, storage. Everybody just throws their stuff in the garage. And then so you got the one car in the driveway, and then you got another car floating around, and you're playing dancing with the cars or something like that. Yeah. You're doing Ring Around the Rosie with the cars in the in your complex. You know what I mean? It is brutal. So anyway, that's
the app. I think you need a show called Dancing with the Cars, Rob. That's a
Dancing with the Cars. Yeah, actually, that's a good one. See, now everybody's taking our ideas. There's a tech guy right out there listening to this show right now. He's going, yeah, great idea. I'm going to put this thing together. He's like a Mark Zuckerberg, and he's going to come up with he'll say he came up with the idea.
Well, we'll have this. We'll tape it for sure. But you know what? You could call the app Dancing with the Cars because you're dancing the cars around in the different parking spots.
Absolutely. I'm going to get the domain name right now. And so Dancing with the Cars, but it is. I know. It is brutal. Like, it is brutal. So, and people that own a condo right now, and think about this. They have a condo building with 300 units. They only have maybe 10 visitor parking spots. 10. Okay, 300 units. Okay, let's say 300 people live there, and it's Christmas. Where do you think, like, you don't think everybody's going to have somebody visiting them at Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever? Like, where do all these other guys go? You know what I mean? And
even me as a realtor, when I'm doing showings downtown Hamilton for my clients and stuff like that, sometimes I have to park many blocks away just on a Tuesday afternoon because there's no parking anywhere. So think about those guests that are coming to visit them. They're going to have to walk, and especially in the wintertime and the snow. Yeah. It's not fun.
New York City and Toronto, you can get away without a driver's license. If you live downtown and you work downtown, you can get away without a driver's license. But not Niagara or even Hamilton or Brantford or anything like that. Everybody has a car, and they need a driver's license. Like in New York City, I was watching one of these shows, these real estate shows, and they have all the expensive clothes, and they all look good and everything else like that. And I'm like, I go, wow, like, do they pick these people out or what?
Is
like,
it the new one on Netflix? Selling the City?
Selling in the City, New
Yeah.
York. I go,
Yeah.
oh my God. So anyway, but they don't have driver's license. When somebody gets a driver's license, they go, oh wow, why did you get a driver's license? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because they have drivers. They have drivers that drive them around because there is no parking. Yeah. So when they're showing houses or showing condos, you literally need a driver.
Yeah, they do.
They drop you off.
Yep.
They drop you off in
Yep.
front of the condo, and the driver goes parks down the street
Yep.
someplace and waits for your call to pick them up.
Yep, that's true.
They also
yeah.
make about
That's
a
what they
couple
do.
$1 million every time they get a commission. Too.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding. Eh? I know. I'm calculating. I go, man, I don't need to sell as many homes as they do.
Nope.
You know, like if I could do what they do, and like they look so good. I wish I had a camera following me, and I get their wardrobe. You know, what the heck's that about? You know, and everything looks so good. But trust me, everybody, real estate, it's not as good as it looks on TV.
Yeah,
Believe me, there's
very
a
true.
grind.
Yes.
There's a grind. They're talking, they're all talking about, who wore what that day, what they said that day. We don't care. I'm here working. I don't care what anybody says.
Get those
That's it.
deals. All right. We talked a little bit about this last week, but I can't believe it. It's still continuing, Rob. These California wildfires, just devastating to watch. Just thousands, tens of thousands of buildings have been destroyed. And sadly, many have lost their lives as well. And, thankfully the winds have died down there. They're getting a little bit of a handle on this stuff. But you really do wonder, when it's all said and done, what that final price tag is going to be to rebuild.
It's going to be huge. There'll be an economic, it's going to be a downturn, but it'll be an economic boom because now they got to build all these houses. Yeah. I was just watching on social media that the actor Mel Gibson, that he did a bunch of movies there. His whole house burned down. He says when they were evacuating, he goes, his kids were saying, "What do we grab?" He says, "Grab your passports, grab whatever. Everything's going to be burnt." I'm sure they, think about all your personal possessions, and who knows what insurance coverage is going to be, because I'll tell you, they're not going to cover that $1 million painting on the wall that's been sitting there and that burned down. And but it is sad that what they're going through. And there is looting going on. So people are, people are leaving their house. So those people are leaving their house. Obviously, they're leaving their house 1 or 2 days in advance before their house burns down. So people are going in, gathering stuff, and they can sell this stuff, to another state. Basically, you're going through the house. It doesn't matter. You could say everything burned anyway, but you hate to see somebody take advantage of somebody in dire strait. But there is a lot. There will be an economic boom down the road, but they're going to feel it. They're going to feel it through tourism. They're going to feel it through everything. And now there's going to be a boom in rental homes, probably in the surrounding areas. It's going to be tough. Yep. People are going to leave the state. Who knows what's going to happen? So there's going to be a huge change that's going to happen in that area of California. Yeah.
I heard about some price gouging on the rentals. Get this, Justin. Some places trying to rent out single bedroom units for $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 American dollars.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. It's all about supply and demand, and unfortunately, people
they're getting it.
They're taking advantage of it now.
Yeah, and they're getting and the only people that can afford it are the rich.
Yep.
Yeah, and so they're these fires are happening in neighborhoods where there's a lot of wealth. And so those guys, hey, they may lose their $10 million house. I'm sure they'll get some insurance on it, but they probably have 2 other houses in different states. So they just, okay, well, I guess this is going to be burned down. Let's just go to New York City. We'll hang out there and watch the fires on TV,
Yeah, there is. And then there's a lot of diversity too, people who don't make as much. Right. And so it's those people you really feel for. Right. Because it's, those with the 2-3 houses, they're not the ones who are going to have to try to go rent those $5,000 a month single bedrooms. It's the other people. It's very sad. It
is very sad. And it's once this fire is over, I think there's going to be a lot of disappointed people for insurance and what the government's going to pay. I think it's going to be tough. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you guys. This has been fantastic. Justin, where can we go to find out more about you?
Absolutely. Just go over to the Golfi website, and we have a leasing tab there, and you can get further information and to get in touch with me.
Okay, super. And the Golfi website is, of course, robgolfi.com.
RobGolfi.com. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
robgolfi.com. You can also give them a call at 905-641-0308. Well, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you both.
Thank you. Have a
Thank you.
great day.
And this has been the Golfi Real Estate Show. We'll do it again next week. Thanks for listening here on News Talk 610 CKTB.